Nearly 50 people shot in Chicago, 5 dead. Gunfire rang out in Washington, D.C., L.A., and several other American cities on another violent weekend in America. In New York City, some of the shootings are becoming more brazen. In May, a man on his way to Sunday brunch was shot dead on the subway by a complete stranger.
I haven't seen it like this 15, 20 years.
It's enough to drive longtime residents away from commuting.
So the convenience no longer outweighs the risk that you could become a victim of a random crime.
In April, a man opened fire on a busy subway train in Brooklyn.
I have my mace. I pray before I leave the house. I pray on my kids and my husband, and I go about my day. It has come to that.
This is our no shooting days.
In the Bronx, it's David Caba's job to keep count of how many days without a shooting in his neighborhood. He runs BRAG, Bronx Rises Against Gun Violence. After some years of decline, gun violence across the U.S. surged starting in 2020, and it continues to spike post-pandemic.
A lot of our young people took to social media, and they were fighting on social media. They are addressing the beefs that transpired in the first 2 years of the COVID and the pandemic. So we have extra happening now.
Our crew works in the city, and I can tell you this, the feeling is that there is never a moment of relief. You're always looking around, you're always looking over your shoulder, you're always alert.
New York City's mayor is so concerned he recently appointed a so-called gun violence czar.
When a bullet hits the target, the physical bullet stops, but the emotional trauma rips apart the anatomy of our entire community.
Caba wants to send another message to leaders: treat gun violence like a public health issue.
Just like they invested in mental health programs for individuals that have mental health issues, they need to invest similarly in anti-gun violence and violence programs just like BRAG.
It's a movement he hopes will spread across the country, addressing gun violence one neighborhood at a time. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.